Hey everyone, this is Todd La Torre from Queensrÿche, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast.
Brutally Delicious!
Hey, you're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast. I'm Bruce.
And I am alive. I'm Chris.
Dude, I was listening to some of your other ones the other day while I was editing. You're fucked up.
I am fucked up, yeah.
Anyway, today we've got a great show for you. We've got Todd La Torre from Queensrÿche. I know I'm totally stoked as a massive fan and a personal friend. It's going to be great.
Oh, I'm stoked. I can't wait. I saw some video that one of our mutual friends posted a little while ago from one of their shows in Florida. He was backstage. I don't know if he was doing sound at the venue or what was going on, but fuck, they sounded good.
Yeah. One of my favorites. So let's get him on the line and see what he's got to say.
All right.
Did you take care of the mice, or are you still dealing with that?
Oh, fuck. I don't want to fucking talk about it.
Let's not talk about mice.
On Friday, dude, check this out. On Friday, I'm out shopping. It's about 4:00, and Tanner has Cushing's disease, so he has to stay on these pills, which means he has to get really expensive blood work done every few months to make sure that the levels are still okay.
Right.
And so I got a call on Friday because he did his test on Tuesday. I got a call on Friday. You got to bring him in right now. We need to do more blood work, and we need a urine sample. Get him here now. And I was just like, holy fuck, what's wrong? Oh, my God. So I rush him in. They get blood. They're like, we don't know what's wrong, but his trilostane levels, which is the pill he takes, are way too high, and he's in severe danger. You have to stop everything right now. And I was just like, oh,
wow,
okay, sure. So I stop it, and he was pretty good over the weekend, but then the Cushing's symptoms really started to come in on Monday and Tuesday, and yesterday. Oh, dude, it was so painful. He was just crying all day, like loudly crying, because he has so much adrenaline in his system, but his body is too messed up for him to even deal with it. So we spent the whole day in the backyard. He wouldn't go for a walk because he's too scared to leave the house when he's like this.
Oh, really?
So we spent the whole day in the backyard just wandering around, wandering, crying, and I was just like, oh my God, this is brutal. Then I come in, and I'm like, what the fuck? Is that mouse shit on the floor? And then I go and I look behind the ottoman there, and all of his pills had been taken back there, and there's mouse shit and piss back there. And then I saw it everywhere else, and I was just like, oh, fuck.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks,
we had mice a few weeks, like about a month ago.
Yeah, I remember you telling me. I thought that was all done.
It was because they were coming from the neighbor's place, and I talked to the pest control guy, and he's like, oh, it's coming from here for sure because I just worked on their place, and they have holes and mice shit all over their garage, and I told them they have to clean up their stuff, and I did everything I can, and then we just never saw it again. But recently, they always leave their garage door open, and they do a lot of like agricultural work. They have like I call them the farmers because their backyard is just a farm, really. And there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's just it's just what they do. They're growing squash and peppers, but they take all of their stuff and throw it in the garage, and then they leave the door open, so it just rots there in the garage.
Oh, nice.
So the mice get in. So I guess more mice got in, and now I'm like, fuck. There's no way I can stop it unless I rip out the wall that connects the whole house to the neighbor's house and find out the hole where they're getting in. Like,
wow.
We've plugged everything with steel wool, and they're still coming through. I don't know where they're coming.
That sucks.
But because I know they like Tanner's little pill pockets, what I did today is they are fucking tricky, man. They're avoiding all the regular traps. So I bought the sticky traps, and I created this fucking square, and the pill pocket's in the middle at the back, but in order to get to it, they have to go over 3 or 4 sticky traps. You're like down.
You're like a sadistic mouse hunter.
Oh, fuck, I'm pissed.
Nice.
Anywho, so we got Queensrÿche. Who's the guy from Queensrÿche?
Yeah, Todd.
What's his last name?
La Torre.
Todd La
Latorre.
Is it La Torre?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm friends with him from back when I lived in Florida before he was in Queensrÿche.
Oh, wow. Oh,
And
he's also
before
a
he was in
drummer.
Crimson Glory, he was just like a local drummer and he had his own upholstery business.
Wow. This is cool, man. He's from Florida. What's the deal with Florida? Why is Florida so big with metal?
Not sure. I mean, I know like the center of the state has that whole death metal thing, but even like where I'm from, down in Tampa and St. Pete, you had like Sabotage and a lot of Queensrÿche and a lot of those bigger bands come out of there. Pretty crazy.
Queensrÿche was from Florida?
They're from Seattle, but
Okay.
he's from. So yeah, you know what I mean. Don't
Yeah,
get so fucking technical.
Hey, I was the one that thought fucking that one guy was from Vancouver. He's fucking from Dallas, so you know.
On a side note, let me tell you a couple stories.
Okay,
So the first story is, as you know, we're made Blabbermouth again, which I'm totally stoked about.
that is fucking rad.
Which, without even me sending them anything, I just kind of got it out quick, and I was like, shit. My buddy Dale, who's one of our few listeners, he sent me a text yesterday. He's like, dude, you made it again.
Yeah, that's huge. That means we're becoming something. Maybe we'll get to 4 listeners.
Yeah, I don't know, but either way, I'm stoked. And I get like a Woody every time I see that we're in Blabbermouth. So
Oh, it's huge. It's
yeah,
massive.
thank you for noticing. Oh, you weren't talking about my Woody. You were talking about being in Blabbermouth.
Okay, on another
That's the word
side
on the street.
on another side note, did you see that fucking 70,000 Tons of Metal announced Devin Townsend yesterday?
Yeah, weren't we just talking about him?
Holy fuck. That is a huge fucking announcement, man.
Yeah, I like that one, and I also like Flotsam and Jetsam too. 2 good ones in a row.
Yeah, I don't know Flotsam and Jetsam. The only thing I know about them is that that's where the bass player for Metallica came from. What's his name? Jason Newsted.
Yeah, Jason Newsted. Actually, a really good band, and their new album has been in my regular rotation here for a little bit. Really good stuff.
Oh, I'll have to check it out. I will have to check it out because...
And then, so the next story is I was in class the other day. After class, I just stopped to talk to my professor, who is a metalhead, and I told you, we had this weird conversation one day after class, but he's like, dude, I've been listening to your stuff, and you guys sound really professional and so casual. I really like it.
Oh, that's
Like,
awesome.
That's totally what we're going for. That's beautiful.
Did you tell him we're studying the world religion of heavy metal? and
The philosophy of metal.
yeah, the next topic we will be studying is heavy metal culture. Why does it exist?
Ancient Mediterranean metal religions or something. He's probably going to listen to this, so he's going to get a kick out of it. Or give me an F. I don't know.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Where does heavy metal come from? Let's trace our roots. To go back, we must find Sam Dunn.
Yep. So I thought that was all pretty cool. And that's pretty much all I got. What have you been listening to?
Oh, geez. I watched The Voice.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, I'm hearing myself in the speakers.
Nothing changed.
That's weird. What have I been listening to? My God. To be honest, just the new song I'm working on. I haven't been listening to anything else. No time.
Oh, wow. I've been listening to that new freaking Norma Jean. Good gracious, man.
I got to hear it. Okay, I'll put it on my list right now. It's on my mental list to listen to it after we're done this podcast.
Oh, if you get a chance, put on If Loss, Then Leader. I know it sounds fucked up. Great.
I can't wait to check it out. I need some more stuff. I've been mixing and working on my own stuff, so I've been kind of out of the loop on metal, you know?
Yeah, I would say that one or the new Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah, you're a big fan of that band. I can't quite get into it. I understand that they're good. I understand why people like it. It's just not really for me.
No, too different?
I don't know if it's different that bothers me. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It just kind of reminds me of like every song I've heard anyways. I'm like, fuck, the band is so tight, but the singer reminds me of like Blink-182 or something. It's just
Maybe.
it just doesn't really jive with me.
I totally dig them.
Yeah. Well, we can have our differences, Gojira. I mean, Bruce.
Go Jira.
But I'll check out the Devil.
Yeah, check out
Norma
it's
Jean.
called the new record is called All Hail. So any songs off it really, but
Okay, I'll check it out as soon as this is over because
I know Colin's getting tired of hearing me talk about it. So, because I'm like that, I find something I love and then I'll play it to death.
Hello.
I miss that though. Hey, Chris, meet Todd. Todd, Chris.
Hey, Todd. Nice to meet you, man.
I like what is that? An Explorer in the back?
No, it's a Ibanez DT350. It's like the Ibanez Explorer.
It's the Destroyer.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah, they only made this guitar for like a year.
Yeah, it's the DT 555.
350.
Oh, 350.
Yeah. It was only made between 84 and 85. I'll show it to you. 1 sec, I'll grab it.
Yeah, I like that.
Geeks. You still playing a lot, Todd?
Yeah, when I can. Yeah, that's sweet. Oh, that's like that's kind of like, I don't know if you can hear me. Hold on.
Sorry, what's that?
That's kind of like the Star.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more like the ESP Star or the Jackson Star. That's not like the Explorer or the Destroyer. That's different. Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, it's a nice guitar. It was actually given to me, believe it or not.
Wow, that's really pretty. I like that.
It's a collector's item. So
I know, it's sweet.
I'm about ready to swap the pickups in it though. I think I think I'm gonna put the Petrucci pickups in here.
It's just a badass guitar.
Yeah,
and then I'm looking at Bruce's wall. I don't know.
Oh yeah, don't even ask.
I don't know what that is.
That's my son's Area Pro. Remember those?
Well, yeah. So what's going on, dude?
Not much. You doing all right? It's been a long time.
Yeah. Vader, hush. That's my dog.
Been a long time, huh?
Yeah, dude. Just plugging away, always on the road, and I'm finally home, which is nice. I'm never get a chance to just be home, and slept in, took a shower, gonna go see my mom later, probably hand out candy with her to the kids or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're not really home for long though, right? You guys are back out on the road, I saw, like in 2 weeks or something.
Yeah. So I actually leave November 8th. I'm gonna see my wife. She's in Greece for a little while. So I'll see her and my in-laws for 5 days before the tour kicks off. That'll be 3 weeks in Europe, and then I come home for a day and a half, 2 days, and then another 3 in a row. And it's pretty busy until the last show of the year is December 21st. I'll fly back home the 22nd, do Christmas, New Year's, and then the Seattle guys will fly to Tampa probably around January 9th-ish, and we'll do some rehearsals and then another 6-week ground tour. So yeah, I got a lot of touring. I've been home for the total time I will have been home would be about 2.5 weeks. So I'm, washing cars, painting trim, doing yard work.
Rockstar life.
Oh yeah. So.
How many shows?
But I live in a super tiny bungalow that I bought when I was 21 years old. So it's, even a tiny small house, it's never ending. There's always something that needs to be fixed. And, it's like, I can't imagine having like some big ass house and the upkeep of, I'm not home that much. Right. So having a small place is definitely much more ideal.
How many shows a year are you guys doing right now?
About 100.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, because you got to factor in travel and days off, and my God.
Yeah. Even if you're, so we will have done 2 European tours. I think 4 weeks was the first run. This will be 3 weeks of shows with only 4 days off, and those are primarily travel days.
Oh.
And then we do usually 1 to 2 ground tours in the States. And then we do a bunch of fly dates, like one-offs or maybe 2 in a row. So yeah, even for a one-off, if you did 30 to 50 fly dates a year, for every one show, that's 3 days because you got to fly out, then play the next day, then go home. So there's 3 days. That's 150 days a year.
Yeah.
Just doing one-offs. I mean, it gets pretty crazy.
Oh, I bet you got to be tired. How do you manage to keep your voice in shape with that kind of schedule?
Dude, I sometimes I feel like I don't. It's just, I'll be like, God, I sang like shit tonight. I'm raspy, and I've been fighting this acid reflux. So I went and got scoped from my ENT, and I was curious. Oh, maybe I have nodes. I'm having a little more difficulty singing some different things, and he was like, no, you don't have any nodules. The vocal cords were a little thicker on the left side than the right, but I had no scar tissue that he could see, no damage. But he said my throat had a lot of evidence of acid reflux. So I took like a 2-week cycle of Nexium, basically, to see if that will, he said that affects your high range and just your overall quality. So hopefully, that will make a difference. But some days you do everything right, and maybe it's not a great performance. And then there's other times where I didn't get any sleep. What you would think would be, against the rules I've done, and I've sang really well at shows. So unfortunately for me, I don't have anything that is tried and true that says, okay, this always works. So it's just, the
voice.
I guess we'll both be surprised when I get on stage.
The human voice is such a different instrument every single day. You never know what it's going to do. All you can do is try to control it. It's
like people are like, oh, with guitars, you're in a different climate. The tuning changes, the neck changes, and it's like you can fix that shit with your voice. Here we go. There's no quick fix to those constant changes of environment and altitudes and sleeping patterns and eating time. There's no set regimen of a schedule. It's all the stuff behind the scenes that nobody sees, and then they just judge you on that performance. You're like, okay, well, we just traveled so many hours and you didn't sleep well and you didn't eat what you wanted, and I don't know.
I just flew across the Atlantic Ocean. I've had 1 hour of sleep. I had a screaming baby beside me.
Totally.
Now I got to play a show.
Oh, this guy sounds like shit. Fuck you.
Well, I mean, the songs you're tackling are no easy feat either. Like the vocal range in some of those tracks is.
I'm not singing Brown Eyed Girl.
Nice.
So what else is up? What do you want to talk about?
So let's start with the band. So what is this, third album in now?
3 albums in, yeah. So a little over 7 years.
So 3 albums in, 7 years. I don't think I've ever seen a hardcore fan base like Queensrÿche fans take to a new addition, especially a frontman as they have to. That's got to be a pretty good feeling, right?
I think that we did a really good job overcoming, such a huge obstacle. I mean, there's a lot of bands that have great singers that come in and kind of, I don't like to use the word replace, but we'll just use it for simplicity, that replace a very iconic singer in a band. And, whether it's Gary Cherone joining Van Halen, he's a great singer, or John Corabi, who's a great singer. Like there are, and some people think, that some of those records they did with those bands were amazing and better than even some of the, earlier stuff. But I think that we couldn't have asked for really a better outcome. I think that, obviously music is a very personal thing to a lot of people, and they can't just separate their biases or their emotions from the actual music they're hearing. So a lot of those biases permeate and distort a fair judgment of what you're listening to. So we have to contend with that. And I think by and large, we've really kind of won over the majority of Queensryche's fan base. And, I wasn't just a one album guy. So I think it really helps to solidify the lineup, and the fact that we're still doing very good business. People are really interested to hear the new material live also, which is a great thing.
Right.
So I think it's been a great success. I mean, you're never going to please everyone, no matter what, and that's okay. But I think we've done a really good job, and obviously thanks to people that give this band a chance without Jeff Tate. I mean, I'm not that guy, so I really couldn't ask for a sweeter situation, to be honest.
Nice. Chris?
Yeah. So Bruce took my question. What a guy. So
yeah, you're just not needed, I guess.
I'm just a sidekick that wears glasses and a purple shirt. I mean, fuck.
You didn't prep at all.
with a classic DT350. Where do I fit into this? So recently online, I've been seeing a lot of people talk about wanting you guys to play on 70,000 tons of metal.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything going on there?
I know that there was an offer made a while back. You
don't have to tell me. I mean, I don't care. People online are talking about it like crazy.
I think the way that I view this is I think it's great for Queensrÿche to play. We've done a lot of the Monsters of Rock cruises. Yeah. And the bulk of those bands are bands like Kix and Faster Pussycat and, kind of that genre, if you will.
Metal. Sure.
And I think that there's a fan base that Queensrÿche can play to on that ship. Now, we just did the Megadeth cruise.
Oh, how was that?
It was great with, Overkill and Metal Church and Anthrax and Testament and, some of my favorite bands on the planet. And, we were, kind of, I would say the least, quote, heavy in that sense band. But I think that was really cool because, you're going with all this super pretty heavy stuff to a band. We're heavy in our own way. But I think that even Queensrÿche still has a pretty wide demographic, and we're able to pull off playing among a lineup like that. Now, the 70,000 tons is certainly a much heavier cruise, but there's also politics involved with, this guy, runs these cruises, and if you go to this other thing, that can cause some ripples, and that might not be very favorable. But at the same time, as just a music person, it's like we're all just trying to work.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't know why it matters if we play this cruise or that cruise or this, whatever. So there's definitely some behind the scenes politics that happens, but I think that, and I've never been on the 70,000 tons. I have a lot of friends that have played it, that have gone as just music lovers that aren't in the bands playing. It sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, maybe in the future we'll get to do it. Personally, I have no problem playing that cruise, but we've done a lot of cruises with the same owner that runs the Kiss cruise and the Megadeth cruise and the Monsters, and we did the Yes cruise, the Cruise to the Edge, which was really cool. So you kind of have to take all of those variables into consideration and say, well, we've done a lot of cruises with this one camp. If we do one with the other, does that rule out the 3 or 4 or 5 other potential cruises? And so you have to think long term, and so there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff, but I think it's great if there's talk about people taking interest in Queensrÿche playing that cruise. I mean,
it's just fans that I'm seeing. You know, they're like, oh, we
It would be cool.
Yeah. What was it
Yeah,
like?
I mean,
So you were on the Mega Cruise, right? Like the
yeah.
Megadeth one. What was it
Mhm.
like hanging out with all those people all the time?
I mean, it's a lot of fun. You know, I mean, I'm friends with a lot of the bands that are on that ship anyway. But to have them all in one location is really cool. You know, I mean, I'm friends with Testament and, you know, a couple of the Anthrax guys, you know, I'm friends with. I'm friends with all of the guys in Metal Church. I went up and sang Fake Healer with Metal Church, and
Nice.
then
Nice.
Dave Ellefson called me, and he has another band called Altitudes and Attitudes with Frank Bello from Anthrax, where Frank plays guitar and sings. So he called me and said, hey, you know, could you learn like 4 of our songs on drums and play during one of these jams that are going on? And so I thought that was cool. So I got to play on stage with Frank and Dave Ellefson, and you know, I was a fan in, you know, in the front row, actually the photo pit of Testament's one of their full shows. I got to play drums and jam with Alice Cooper's daughter Calico and Chuck Garrick, who's Alice Cooper's bass player. They have a band called Beasto Blanco. So, you know, it was cool to wear a couple different hats, and you know, you're eating dinner, and you know, you go over and chat with Chuck Billy at Testament, and these are guys that, you know, when we tour the festival circuit in Europe, you know, we cross paths a lot because we played the same festivals. So, you know, Chuck and I are buddies, and me and Alex Skolnick are friends, and you know, Gene Hoglan. So I'm in with all those guys quite well, and it's fun for me, you know. Because I'm a huge fan of their work, and now I get to know them as people, and they're really great people. So it's pretty awesome, you know. It's sometimes I have to pinch myself remembering, you know, the 16-year-old kid, you know, driving to, you know, the Lakeland Civic Center to see the New Order tour, or Practice What You Preach, or Souls of Black, and you know. And then, you know, I get a text from Chuck Billy when we toured with the Scorpions going, hey, dude, I'm at your show tonight. Let's try to say hi, you know, tonight. And,
That's crazy. Yeah.
you know, so stuff like that is pretty awesome.
That goes in the category of things you never saw coming.
I know, right? Yeah, it's pretty surreal. But
I've heard a lot of stuff about the Mega Cruise where they were playing on shore one day and they had to shut down everything on the pool deck and move it inside.
Yeah, so we were at a port. We were at, I think it was in San Diego, and John 5 was playing out on the pool deck, which is awesome. I mean, both of our shows were at the pool stage, and I guess there was some kind of weird noise thing, issue. And so they had to stop his show. Apparently he very quickly went down into one of the other venues on the ship and picked back up and continued his show.
Wow.
But
Nice.
yeah, that was pretty crazy. You know, I'm thinking, wow, didn't they know that this could happen or be an issue? But he pulled it off and finished the show in one of the other venues on the ship, and you know, I guess it, you know, made a bad situation and turned it into a good thing again.
And a good memory too. Like you can actually say, man, remember that time I saw this guy, he got shut down, he moved everything inside and kept going, and it still rocked.
And I don't know John 5, but he's going to be a direct support for us on our ground tour mid-January for 6 weeks. So that'll be a good chance to get to know him and see him do a full show every night. You know, he's super talented, and I hear he's a really great guy. So I'm looking forward to, you know, kind of building that relationship with him and, you know, doing a tour together.
That's cool.
Sweet.
When you first joined Queensrÿche, what was it like for you? Like, because you're obviously stepping into a project. Did you know them before you joined, or did you audition? How did that all come about?
Well, I'm glad that you did your homework.
I told you.
No, you have to understand. The reason I do this podcast is that you can fuck with me all you want. Bruce does all the time. But I'm kind of new to metal. So I do this podcast to learn more about things that are going on.
Absolutely. I'm just busting your chops.
Please do. Anytime.
Bust away.
So enough about you. Let's talk about me. What do you think about me?
Well, I saw a video that Rory posted. When was that? Like, you played sometime in Florida a little while ago. I was fucking blown away by how good you sounded.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, look, Queensrÿche was a huge influence on me. As I think I was about 14 when I learned of them. My sister had a boyfriend who I really looked up to. He was a drummer, great drummer, and you know, he ended up giving me like the Mindcrime cassette, and I was like, he's like, you know, I know you like Iron Maiden with these kind of operatic vocals. Check these guys out. They're called Queensrÿche. And he didn't know them from the beginning, so he learned of them like when they were getting MTV videos like Eyes of a Stranger and whatnot. So that was like my discovery of them. And then I went to like Specs Music back in the day, and I was like looking for Queensrÿche, and the only thing they had there in the bin for under their name was the Warning album. So I bought that, and then I just that's still my favorite Queensrÿche record. I love that record.
That's great. No offense, but yeah.
So as a drummer, you know, I mean, I wasn't a quote singer, you know, I was just a drummer. And so I loved the songs and the singing, and that's what pulled me in. But as a drummer, I really started to learn that kind of stuff and study, you know, this was before the internet and YouTube. And so you had to really listen and go, okay, I think there's 3 rack toms and maybe 2 floor toms, and there's a crash here and here. And so you're kind of visualizing the drum set with your headphones on, and you start learning to play the parts that you think are how they go. And so they were one of my all-time favorite bands: Queensrÿche, Iron Maiden, Striper, Dokken, you know, those were like my bands. And so so when I, you know, fast forward 30 years later, or whatever it was, 20, I don't know, from 15 to when I joined the band, I was in my late 30s. You know, I already knew everything pretty much up to Empire. After Empire, I kind of lost interest in the band. I was still very much into, you know, Dio and Testament and Overkill and more thrash, Slayer and more thrashy stuff. And the band's direction seemed to get more into the adult contemporary style. And, you know, it was just something I wasn't really gravitating toward.
Right.
So I didn't know anything that they had done in the last 15 years other than I did buy like Tribe, and there were some songs on there that I liked. But overall, you know, they weren't full albums that I was really embracing anymore. So when I got to do something with the band, they were like, well, you know, it's easier to ask you what you know and what you like. And I said, well, listen, as a fan, you know, these are the songs I think your fans want to listen to or want to hear live. And it was Queen of the Reich. And, you know, if you're not into metal, some of these titles probably you won't know what they are, but these are classic Queensrÿche songs that are deep cuts off of the earlier works of the band. So yes, I was very familiar, beyond familiar with the songs. And it just kind of was a seamless transition when I started doing stuff with these guys.
That's awesome, man. What an awesome experience. And now it's the way you make your living. How can you complain about that?
I know. I mean, you know, I do kind of bitch and moan about the travel and, you know, gosh, I'm singing 21 nights out of 24 days. Like, come on, you know, I'm tired, you know, but at the same time, it's like, you know, I get to travel. I've made some really great friends. I get to do what I love and create music. And, when I'm home, it's like today. I mean, it's quality time now when I'm actually home. So
Right.
like anything, I mean, everything has its pros and cons, but though I remember distinctly, I don't even think I've shared the story with anyone. I went to see my neighbor across the street is a very talented guitar player, and we went to see. This was before I was in Crimson Glory. Also, Bruce, we went to see at the amphitheater here in Tampa. It was like, I think Poison was the headliner, which I was never really into that style, but Dokken was playing and Sebastian Bach was opening, and so we thought it would be fun to go to a concert because I don't really go to very many concerts anymore, even back then. And so we went, and I remember standing, with everybody in the crowd and watching, like my favorite Dokken songs and watching Sebastian play the Skid Row classics and whatnot. And for the first time, there was a part of me that felt envy. And I'm not a jealous kind of a guy. I'm not an envious person. Like, I can be I'm very happy for people's successes, and I don't ever think like, oh, I wish I had that. I'm very content with my life. But I remember feeling like really kind of ripped off. Like, I'm a drummer. I can sing. I remember saying to my neighbor, like, dude, I belong on that stage, and this sucks, like I'm just I just felt like just another body in the audience when I felt like I was so much more than just a listener. There's great people and great fans of music that don't actually play, but they have such a passion for the music. And here I was, a passionate fan that also was a musician that felt like I had something to offer the music world, and nobody knew who I was. I was never going to be able to share any of that. And I remember feeling really kind of ripped off in life and like, woe was me. And that kind of thing. And so now that I get to do this, I feel like, I don't know if vindicated is the right word, because that kind of comes with a negative premise, but I feel like, okay, finally, like I got to do this. And I think it's a really good testament to this genre, that somebody can quote make it, if whatever that means. But in this context, that's what it means, is getting, I don't like the word fame at all. I like the word notoriety, getting some viewership, if you will. And so I don't think that in the pop world, or maybe country, but I think rock is kind of one of those genres where, you don't have to be 18 and pretty. You can still be an older person and, with thinning hair, and it doesn't matter, or bald. It doesn't even matter. Like, as long as you've got the skills and the attitude and whatever, I think it was a really good testament that this genre and the rock metal community can still embrace an unknown person, per se, and still be able to do great things. And yeah, this is how I earn a living now. So I very much have experienced both sides of the fence, to where I think I have a little different appreciation than for some of these artists that made it big in their late teens and early 20s, and they don't know anything different. That's all they've ever done, which seems pretty awesome. But I think it's certainly a unique perspective for those of us that didn't make it in the glory days, and you finally get to do it now. I really value the opportunity, and this ride. It kind of worries me, like, well, shit, what's going to happen to me when these guys are, decide to hang it up, or what does that mean for me? I got to start my life all over again when I'm in my 50s, like, right. I don't know what's going to happen, but The guys are in very good health. They're super passionate and hungry to still write and record music and tour. So I don't see this slowing down anytime soon. I mean, I could see easily these guys doing this for another decade.
Awesome.
That was going to bring up my next question, because I know, like, with bands like Slayer and everybody calling it a day, do you think you guys still have some time in you? But I guess you kind of answered that at least.
Let's also throw in the variable and put some perspective on that. Slayer is making millions of dollars.
Right.
You know, I mean, they're making exponentially more than what we make and what most bands make. So yeah, you know, if I'll play for $1 million a night and do that for a year, and maybe I'll fucking take vacation too. So it certainly, you know, makes a difference when you're, you know, Iron Maiden and you're I'm sure that their guarantees are 1 to 1.4 a night, and you're doing, some of these bands are doing almost $1 million a night in merch.
Right.
That doesn't suck, you know, but we're a band that we earn a good living, but you know, we have to work like 99.9% of every other band out there.
Right.
Oh yeah. The first time I saw Queensrÿche, I saw the Empire tour in Edmonton, Alberta, with the huge elaborate stage show that they had. And
oh yeah,
it was crazy. They had the basketball net on the stage and all kinds of stuff.
Queensrÿche was selling out arenas for a few years, I think. You know, they had a good little run with selling out those kind of venues, and it was huge. You know, I can only imagine, you know, what that was like from a touring perspective and from a financial perspective. But you know, I think it's also a telling testament that, you know, we're probably 1,000 to 1,500 a night occupancy. You know, we play House of Blues, we play theaters, but you know, we're not selling arenas and that kind of thing. And I think that the fact that, certainly for the original guys in the band, the fact that they're still hungry, that I think that would be very hard to go from this band that's climbing and climbing and climbing, and then you're nominated for Grammys and you're selling out arenas, and you've played with Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Def Leppard, Ozzy. They've toured with the biggest. To then be like, okay, we're playing, you know, a club in a strip plaza. Like, that's that's so many bands. And the fact that they still put their best foot forward and have done, you know, you take the good with the bad. The fact that they're still so excited and passionate about it really tells you that these guys are in it for the love of the craft and performing and creating, not just, well, we're not selling arenas and making millions of dollars like before. I think that's a testament that they're really in it for the artistry of it.
So inspirational, man. So inspirational. Because, you know, like, I don't know if Queensrÿche is coming through DC anytime soon, but like, it's something that I've been dying to see ever since Rory posted that video. He was side stage or something, and I was just like, holy fuck, this band sounds unbelievable. It made me want to go to that show. So, well,
that's a nice thing for you to say. And it's, you know, everyone in the band, you know, if they hear this interview when it's done, would certainly be very thankful for that kind of a comment. I mean, you know, I think we're putting on really good shows live, and I'm doing my best to sing the songs as they were recorded. You know, we're not down tuning any of the material, that we're playing them in the tunings that they were recorded in, and trying to really stay true to that. I do put a little twist on some things of my own, but overall, you know, I think that seems to be a pretty common thing to hear, which is awesome. Is, you know, wow, the band looks like they're having fun. They sound like they're having fun. They're really delivering. It doesn't sound like, they're just going through the motions and it's just paint by numbers. I mean, we're really putting everything we have into each performance and the new material as well. You know, it's Queensrÿche today, but still honoring the legacy. So, you know, in the live show, about 50% of the set list is the material of my era with the band. And then we have some deep cuts from some of the classic stuff. And then we have some of the very popular hits that one would expect to hear at a live show.
So I've got one more for you, and then I'll let you go. I know we've kept you pretty long here, but
dude, it's all good. Whatever. We're fine.
I've heard the new stuff with Michael Sweet, and as a fan growing up, like you mentioned, as a fan of Michael Sweet, to actually be in the studio doing that stuff, what was that like, and how did that come about?
So Michael, you know, I'm a huge Stryper fan, and he called me and said, "Hey, you know, I'm doing a solo record. I've got a track that I would love to have you sing on with me. It'll be like a duet." And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be amazing," you know. Mm-hmm. And so he sent me. So I didn't record in the studio with him. I have my own studio.
Okay.
He lives in the Boston area, and I'm in Florida, and with our touring schedules and whatnot. So he sent me the track, and then we had a phone conversation going over the phrasing and how he wanted it to be sung. And I had a couple ideas that I changed. You know, I said, "Hey, you know, what do you think about this idea?" And he's like, "Wow, I love that," you know. So it was just like some minor tweaks to what he had, but they were all his lyrics and all his stuff. And so I recorded everything here and sent him the finished tracks of my vocals. And I said, "I can't wait to hear it when it's done." And he has a great guitar player, Andy James, who's on it, and Will Hunt, who most people know as the drummer for Evanescence, mm-hmm. and various session work and whatnot. He's a great drummer. So he drummed on it. So yeah, it came out really awesome. And, you know, it's no secret that I'm an atheist. And when I got the lyrics, I was like, okay, this is like totally about Jesus. And is this about him coming back? Like, you know, what? And so it all kind of made sense. And I thought, that's okay. You know, it's not something I believe in, but I love Michael and I love his music, and I will totally be a part of this. This is his message. It's not a message of hate. It's a message among theists of their belief. And so that's fine. I will sing this with the utmost conviction. And some people say, well, how do you, I mean, you don't even believe in God, much less the Christian God. How can you sing about that? Like, and I just look at it as I'm an actor. You know, right. It's no different than a straight person playing a gay role, or a politician playing a role of a politician with a worldview that doesn't jive with their own. So I said, I don't care. I'm going to sing this with all my heart and passion. And so I did that, and you know, he and I have complete respect for each other and that kind of thing. And I said to him after the fact, you know, some people had commented, well, you know, this is so great, Michael. Maybe now, you know, maybe Todd will convert to Christianity. And of course I laugh, and I just said, well, that's not going to happen. But you know what I told Michael? I said, I think it's better that I was a part of this as an atheist, because it shows tolerance. It shows that I'm open-minded to do this with you as an artist, you know. And it wouldn't make it would. I think it shows more like people with completely different worldviews and perspectives can still get along, be respectful, and create really cool music together. And then I had to fuck with Michael a little bit, and I said, cool, dude. Now the real test is, will you sing my lyrics? You know, because I'm doing my own solo record. I finally have been really digging in, and there's a song that's completely the antithesis of the one that I sang on. Although, truth be told, I care so much about Michael and the optics of what his career was built around, which is basically he's an evangelist, really,
Sure.
Through his music. I would never want him to be in a compromising situation because, look, atheists don't really care if I'm singing a song about Christ, but the Christians, in my opinion, will very much care if he's mocking religion or dogma, which is pretty much more of the way I am. I kind of more or less mock the dogma behind it. But that was a really fun song. I think his record did, even the first week debut, I think his US debut was 5,300 sales. I mean, our Queensrÿche debut was like 8,200. So here's a solo record from a Christian artist, which is even more of a niche or niche, however you say it. And the fact that he did those kind of numbers is like, I mean, that's damn successful. So I'm very happy for him. And I was honored to be a part of that. It's pretty nuts, dude. Because again, I was a 16-year-old kid singing the Yellow and Black Attack and In God We Trust records and all of the Stryper records. And to become buddies with him and to be asked, to be part of that is just, it's awesome. I'm so thankful. I'm not blessed because I don't believe in that, but I'm very thankful.
That's all I've got, Todd. I appreciate you taking the time on such short notice.
Dude, it's all good. I'm glad that we were able to do this, and it's nice to meet you as well.
Thank you.
And anytime I can carve out for you, anytime you express an interest and want to chew the fat, I'm always yours, man. And you've always supported me from the very beginning with Crimson Glory, and I'm very appreciative for your friendship and your interest and things like that. And if we're ever either of your guys' way on the tour, shoot me a text. We'll make sure we set you up with tickets and passes. Come see a show, hang out, and I hope that life is treating you well and everything's going good for you guys.
Thank you, brother, so much. I appreciate it. Good luck with the tour. Be safe.
Yeah, man.
What did you think of that?
What a nice guy.
Isn't it great?
I was just like, oh, he wants to go. And then he kept talking about the guitars. And I was like, okay, well, fuck. If the singer from Queensrÿche wants to talk to me about guitars,
oh, yeah,
you got me all day.
I don't understand. I have all this technology that's up to date and I can't get fucking internet anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man.
So I went to my phone and then my phone overheated.
Oh my God. But it's working fine now. It just seems to be when we add the third one in, shit goes to shit.
We'll see what happens. I've got the backup, but that was a good one, right?
You know what I liked about the interview with him is that it wasn't just about him, He's so open. He wants to learn about you and what a different experience, because you're dealing with this kind of rock star guy and really he's just wants to get to know people.
Yep, he's a nice guy.
Really nice guy.
Really genuine anyway.
So if you're listening to this, thanks for doing that.
And always remember, my friends, keep it metal.
Metal.